Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have some major news coming out of the Lara Croft Tomb Raider Remastered game situation. If you guys remember, they just recently censored the game with a post-release patch. Now, this is something that we've been talking about across multiple different games, including Stellar Blade right now, and obviously Tomb Raider. And we've been talking about censorship for a little bit, and now we're seeing an example of what happens when gamers rise up and actually do something and stop sitting on the sidelines talking as if they're better than everybody else for not doing anything. We have an example of a company deciding to reverse their censorship because of fan backlash.
Do you feel in charge?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Asper Media just recently addressed the Lara Croft pinup removals being censored, and apparently they are returning them to the game with an upcoming patch. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. And of course, I'm still sick. I apologize for my crappy voice. It says Asper Media, the developer behind Tomb Raider Remastered 1 through 3, addressed the removal of Lara Croft pinups from Tomb Raider 3 as a result of the game's patch number 2. Now, one thing about what they said regarding the removal is that they essentially said it was a mistake, right? Like they said it was a mistake. I don't believe that in the slightest. When we talk about these companies, right, we know that they tend to try to mask the decisions that they wanted to initially make under the guise of like whoopsie daisy. You know what I'm saying? We've seen that so many times, and it's an old playbook that just doesn't work anymore. And it looks like they're trying to do this because they don't want to lose fan hope. They don't want to lose fan service. And yeah, okay, they're putting it back into the game, but the fact that this was literally targeted, I mean, think about this. What are the chances of this happening? Because number one, in this game, the original version of the game had the posters still there. Obviously, they were very pixelated, so nobody cares. But then the poster that had the HD version, right, the remastered version, that was removed. So it was very clearly that the remastered version had it removed, but the original did not. So that means somebody played with the files when remastering the game and patching the game, and they very clearly removed it. Whether that was by choice or accident, it doesn't matter. It doesn't look very good on your company, especially right now when the talks of censorship is so high. It doesn't look good on Asper Media to remove something like that. It says the pinups were removed from Tomb Raider 3, the lost artifact, during the game's patch 2. They were previously seen above Lara's locker, as seen in a screenshot shared by ex-user Momiji Doa. Now, this picture right here proves that it was in the remastered version. So clearly it was meant to be in the game because they were remastering the game, right? They said the game was going to be unaltered, nothing was going to be changed, and they decided to keep all this stuff in the game so that they can represent it as it was. Okay, no problem. And then all of a sudden the patch comes out and this specific thing of all things has been removed. And it's always when it comes to sexualized pictures and whatnot, that's what was removed. That was a big red flag, and it goes to show that, again, I don't believe them in the slightest that they actually didn't mean to do this. It says, however, following the game's second patch on April 11th, the posters were completely removed. While the images had been removed from the remastered version, they are still available in the original graphics version of the game. YouTuber Melody Max shared those posters were in the original. Aspire has now addressed the pinups removal, writing in a blog post, in the recently released patch 2, we made several texture and graphical updates to the HD version. As part of these updates, the posters in the Sleeping with Fishes, the lost artifact, were inadvertently removed in the HD version of the game. The company added this has been resolved, and these textures will be restored in patch number 3. Now, if this was the case and you didn't mean to do this, once you saw the fan backlash, you would have said something much sooner, in my opinion. You would not have let this foster for weeks, right? Like this happened a while ago. So you would not have let this sit and nothing would have been said. You would have came out and said something right away like, hey, this was a mistake. Everybody relax. We're going to fix this in an upcoming patch. You would have said that much sooner, but you waited weeks to say something like this, which tells me that you were probably waiting to see if the backlash was going to die down. You were waiting to see if maybe people would not be as mad as you knew they were going to be if you were to remove something like this. And we never really see examples of this happen anywhere else. Like, what's the chances that these posters get removed? The one thing that would get removed in an actual real censorship situation, and it's a mistake. It just doesn't make sense. The pinups had previously been touted as one of the 10 remastered details that players might have missed on the official Tomb Raider website. The blog post entry stated that these are the two posters' original renders of Lara signed by as Lara Cruz in Tomb Raider 3's The Lost Artifact expansion level, Sleeping with the Fishes. Initially, the character of Lara was named Lara Cruz, but the developers later decided to make her British and change the name to Lara Croft. Now, again, guys, this picture very clearly shows nothing crazy. I don't think these posters are anything wild, right? The only issue is that people are obviously complaining that, oh, in the originals, they were very pixelated, so you couldn't even see them in the first place. You didn't even know what they were. And now that you saw what they were in the remastered, all of a sudden it became problematic. They really love using that problematic word when it comes to characters that are female that don't fit the narrative that they're looking to use for women these days, right? Modern women, right? Like they don't like these women that are prototypical standard beauty because it goes against their narrative. They don't like it. It makes them feel uncomfortable. You know, when you have naked characters in Baldur's Gate 3, when you got dick and balls swinging with all kinds of physics, that doesn't make them uncomfortable because they love the penis, right? Let's just say what it is. But when it comes to sexy, beautiful characters like women who are just, you know, standard beauty, that makes them uncomfortable. They can never attain it. They can never be real women like that. They can never actually come anywhere close to looking like that because they're too lazy. Find whatever excuse you want, but it makes them feel highly uncomfortable. So censoring stuff like that is not too shocking. Plus, on top of that, what's happening with the current version of Lara Croft goes to just make this even more possible that this was purposeful and not actually accidental. Obviously, it's a different company. It's Asper Media versus Crystal Dynamics, but Crystal Dynamics still was able to put their little trigger warning into the start of the remastered games. So who's to say that they don't have actual small control over the game? If they want to censor something like this, they can convince Asper Media to do it. At the end of the day, whether this was accidental or whether it wasn't, the fact that it happened has now made players feel that much more bad about it, right? Like it put a bad taste in people's mouth because this entire game was being praised for not being censored, right? Like, that was the whole point of this game. A lot of people were worried and scared. Fans of the original Lara Croft were worried that this game was going to be censored for modern audiences, and they ended up getting something that was anything but that, right? You can see this character right here, right? You can see Lara Croft in her remastered form. I mean, she looks like the original character. Nothing was changed at all. Even the cleavage is showing. They didn't put that stupid modernity cloth, right? Like that's what I call it. I call that the modernity cloth when they want to hide the cleavage of natural women. Yeah, they put the modernity cloth there. They didn't even do that. They didn't do that with this character, and they kept it exactly like it was. So it was great, and a lot of people were praising it, Melanie Mack included. So when this patch came out and did something stupid like this, yeah, that's a big problem. So I don't really know why that would happen. I don't really understand or see how that could be possible, given that it's a completely different asset that's obviously put on top of the map. But ultimately, whether it was a mistake or not, people are going to have a bad taste in their mouth. You screwed over fans. You made them highly upset, and hopefully this quells the storm for you by adding it back. But chances are, I don't really think that's going to happen, and people are probably going to be highly sus over what you might come out with in the future, especially if it has to do with Lara Croft. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.
Your money and infrastructure have been important. Till now.